Good Tuesday evening to you, my friends, and welcome into another episode of the Barking Brown Show. I'm Jacob. That's Casey. Mr. Nick Carnes down below, brought to you as always by our friends over at Homage Apparel. Go check them out right now. Homage Apparel. I got the classic Brownie the Elf. We're all rocking some retro Browns gear. Go check that out. Hey, we are back live on Twitch. If you are watching us on Twitter or you're watching us on Facebook, I think the best platform to watch this thing live is over on Twitch. We got some announcements related to that here in just a few minutes. Gentlemen, how are we doing?
Dude, I'm doing great. You know, it feels like it's a while since I've seen your guys' smiling faces. You know what I mean?
Right.
Jacob went for Dolo on the last one, so it's good to have the triumvirate back together and ready to break down some wide receiver prospects and even get down with a triple threat mock at the end of this. Man, I'm pumped.
Yeah, shout out to Jacob for carrying the load this weekend. I really did get used to seeing your faces twice a week for these shows as well. So you can definitely look forward to more of that and some plans about them. But personally, I'm excited. You know, one of our own maybe shared a orange helmet with a white face mask before he should have on the old Twitterverse. That really set the Browns world on fire. But I'm excited. I'm glad. This is exciting. Did you notice that the orange is the brighter, more pop? It's not the well, I guess I don't have the orange helmet.
Yeah, it's not the matte orange, you know?
Yeah, it's a
little more vibrant.
Right. So how are you guys feeling about that?
Sexy, dude. I don't know how it was ever gray, how the face mask ever was gray. Like, how did they land on that? You know, like white makes everything pop, makes the stripe pop, lettering, you know, everything, man. It's just, to me, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I'm good with it, man. Like, it was really funny that when there was some talk of the white face masks making like a comeback and things like that last year, there were a lot of people pumped up about the white face masks and very into it and having really strong opinions about it. And I really didn't have one either way. I was kind of like, what face mask? Like, who cares what the face mask looks like? I didn't realize it. But then, you know, they play that primetime game with the orange pants, the brown jerseys, and white face masks, especially in those primetime lights, just everything shining. I was like, oh, okay. All right. I get it. Let's get that shit back out there and let's roll. Like,
it's going to be fun.
Guys, if you are on Twitch, you can actually subscribe to the channel, become a subscriber. It's $5 a month, helps us out a ton. We got some really cool things coming out. You'll get ad-free on Twitch, so anything you watch on this channel will be ad-free when you subscribe. We got 3 custom emoticons that are available for the subscribers, some exclusive giveaways coming, as well as the announcement that we have another episode coming out each week. We will be live on Twitch exclusively Friday nights. Friday night about 8 p.m. Come hang out with us. We're going to talk Browns. We're going to chit chat. We're going to hang. We're going to talk about the NFL as a whole, and also have some fun and exciting segments. So, for example, this Friday night, we are going to try to get 10 subs. If we can get 10 subscribers during Friday night's stream, at the end of it, I will do the saltine challenge, which is 6 saltines in 60 seconds without any water. And next week, during Friday night, during the day 2 of the draft, for every sub we get during that stream, Nick will eat a ghost pepper potato chip.
I certainly will. And to be fair, I owe it anyway, but that is going to be a spicy affair, and you will not want to miss it. I might want to miss it, but I'll be here and be doing it.
And be known that if you have an Amazon Prime account, you can link it to your Twitch and subscribe to one Twitch channel for free, but it'll still give us the a cut of what you're it'll pay us like it would normally, just won't cost you anything. You get it through your Prime account. I'm going to drop a link in the comments right below. That link will take you to how to connect your Twitch account to your Prime account, and then you can sub to the channel for free. And we're going to get you some exclusive giveaways as well as some on-air shout outs for anybody that subs to the channel. All right, guys. There's some comments today from Watson that I wanted to kind of get into before we dive into the wide receiver prospects and then moving on to our triple mock here at the end of the show. And that is, he talked about that he's throwing at game speed today, I believe was the comment that kind of pointing out, hey, I'm throwing again like you all were told we'll be going. I see your comment, Josh. I'm throwing again, but I'm not just like tossing around. I am throwing at game speed. Said he doesn't know how much he'll be participating in off-season conditioning, which started yesterday in Berea. The players are back, which is just phenomenal, awesome, great. Nick Chubb was there. Yeah, they talked about Nick Chubb working his butt off. And then there's this weird random Twitter account that said they heard that he's not going to be ready till November, but it's like don't pay attention to some of those Twitter accounts that are just because I've not heard anything. I've tried, but
no, they're just throwing shit at the wall, man. There's no substance to that.
And so any thoughts on the, kind of what was said today from Watson? Anything do you think any of this even really matters right now?
No, it's also, like it's good that he's on schedule, and it's just a weird thing because this is a uncharted territory for an injury for a quarterback. But we do know that it's a bone that he broke. We know that bones heal and bones heal back stronger. We're not dealing with ligaments. We're not dealing with anything that had to be cut. It's just allowing the proper time for it to heal. Anyone who's had a broken bone, you just got to give it time, man. You got to give it that proper time. If it heals, it actually heals back stronger. It's just physiology, so it's
good.
Oh no, I was just saying. So if he's taking the proper time off and he's easing himself back in, I have no reason to suspect that he will not be full go by the time he needs to be, late June when they meet up again, and then obviously for camp in July. So I'm not worried about whether he's throwing full go. If he's doing anything with the guys right now, just focus on your rehab, get all the way back, because that's where they need you to be, and that's where he needs to be.
I've just liked the body language, the vibes, for lack of a better word, from the season. Like Kevin Stefanski goes out to LA, meets with Deshaun. Deshaun and Kevin Stefanski are there together talking football with I believe Quincy Avery at the opening of Lefty's Cheesesteaks. Then you see him coming into the building. He's saying, "Hey, I'm throwing at full speed." That type of stuff. It seems to be leaning in the right direction. We haven't heard anything. Like Andrew Berry has made some comments about Deshaun coming along on schedule. For me, I don't think I can learn a whole lot. Like nobody's going to give you the 100% straightforward answer, right? But I think it would be easier to tell if maybe things weren't going as planned, and I haven't gotten any of that from the way that they've been talking. And like looking at Deshaun, especially if you haven't watched his pod with Kevin, I would highly recommend it. He just seems comfortable. It seems like he and Coach Stefanski have a good relationship, and I just like, as we're looking forward towards the future, that's what you want to see, right? Especially on the cusp of the Berry Stefanski extensions. So that's about all I can take from it.
Yeah, I mean, Josh over on YouTube said it's April, for fuck's sake, and so like that's the factual. I just thought it was interesting that just to kind of hear, he talked about the bone breaking off and just dangling in there from the labrum. Yeah. And it was just like, it was one of those things where I was like, stop, I don't want to hear about that. I was like, I don't need to know. But they'd asked him about it, and he kind of went into. I just think it's interesting that the verbiage that he did use when he did say full speed in terms of throwing, like throwing it. He's not tossing it, he's throwing it like he's throwing routes. So hey, listen, I know, but I get the comment here. Am I supposed to keep getting interrupted by these commercials? I mean, there is one way to eliminate the ad breaks, especially if you already have Amazon Prime. Link your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, sub to the channel, plus ad breaks pay us. Anyway, that's just how you can do it. That's just how you can do it. I apologize though. I do apologize for ad breaks on the Twitch side of things if you're not subbed to the channel. Yeah, so let's talk about wide receivers. Let's get into the draft. Let's transition over to wide receiver talk for this week with the draft. Day one of the draft is 9 days away. Hard to believe. 9 days from now, we will be we'll be live streaming, but we will be live watching the draft on night one. A lot of chaos unfolding. So wherever you guys want to start, let's talk about some wide receivers. And Casey, go ahead, man, kick us off.
Well, as I talked about it when we were talking earlier today, like I have all my stuff kind of set up in buckets by range and role specificity. So I got my Z receivers, my X receivers, my slots. I have a few unicorn buckets, the guys that do a little bit of everything. But let's start with Troy Franklin, which I view as a role specific player. He's a vertical threat. And I've seen, actually, in the last day or two, I've seen people be a little more down on him. And I get it, man. He is slider frame. He's a lanky dude. He's slider frame. I love what he does in the vertical game, though. And I just you look at his athleticism, what he does, what his ability to separate deep. I just think we always chase players. We always chase like what Watson had in Houston. You look at how the receivers were set up, and you're looking for that Will Fuller type that can, and that's what I see with Franklin. So that is a role I envision. So I definitely see a path. And keep in mind, he is one of the players that the Browns brought in for their top 30 visits. So I think Troy Franklin is someone needs to be discussed. And I do believe that he's going to be. I have a second round grade on Franklin. I've seen some people come back with some third round grades, and I'll hear the discourse. I just think that if you want to take a stab at Troy Franklin, 54 is your number. If he makes it there, it's going to be close. So there are some minuses to his game at this point. He can get knocked off his routes. It's going to take him a while to build a complete route tree. But you got to keep in mind what he was for Oregon. Oregon threw like 30% of their passes behind the line of scrimmage. The reason they were able to attack vertically was Troy Franklin. He's ready for that role now, and he's someone that you could kind of sneak in there and kind of open things up for the other players, and let him get his feet wet, and he can develop the other stuff as he comes along. So Troy Franklin's second round grade.
The thing that's interesting that with the discourse around Franklin, like I get it, under 180 pounds, like would he come in at the combine like 178 or something like that?
178. Yep.
And you're kind of like, that's probably him bulked up a little
exactly.
bit. Like,
you wonder how inflated that is.
Right. Like, is he playing at 170? Because like he's smaller, but you've seen a lot of like, one thing I always come back to is, have we seen a player of that build work? Well, a player of that build just signed a massive contract in Philadelphia, and Devontae Smith.
Yep.
Like, so we have seen it. It can work. And, and Smith, I think, is bigger than he was, but I think he was smaller than Troy Franklin coming out, if I remember correctly. I do remember him coming out of Alabama and thinking, wow, I don't know if he's going to work because of that build. And then he's like, yeah, fuck you, dude. Like, yeah, I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. It's like, yeah, okay, that's cool. That's fine. But like, Troy Franklin's route tree isn't diverse, but his route running is crisp. Like, I think, like, we talk about Troy Franklin with some of the getting vertical and all the things that he can do. I think he gets in and out of his breaks pretty good. I think he's got good body control, he understands how to throttle up, throttle down, some things like that. I think he's more, and I'm not saying that this is what you're saying, Casey, but I've heard a lot of people say this. I think Troy Franklin is more than a one-trick pony. Like, I don't think it's just this. And I think part of that is that's what they asked him to do. Kind of what you said. Think about Oregon's offense. Think about what they did. Bo Nix, like, that's one of the knocks on Bo Nix is how many of these throws is Bo Nix made behind the line of scrimmage and his wide receivers made plays for him? Do you really want to draft that? That's kind of in those conversations. I think if you get Troy Franklin into a right situation with some good route runners, because I think he's a good route runner. And I mean, he could learn from Amari Cooper. You know what I mean? Like you could go in and do these sorts of things. And I think that you get him in that room. I think Troy Franklin, as you said, immediately vertical threat. I think Troy Franklin can be a solid number 2 wide receiver. And I don't think it would be that long down the road before he becomes that.
I also think of Tank Dell. Now that's a double-edged sword, because when Tank was healthy, he was arguably better than Nico Collins for a stretch of the season in that Houston offense, which is important to me because he also had the size concerns. Now, that being said, he also got hurt, and that ended his season. So when he was on the field, he was producing, though. And I think we are seeing there's a lot. The more I've learned about this wide receiver class, there are a lot of wide receivers in it that are smaller in nature, or maybe just lighter. It seems like there's a bunch of those guys. And so this is going to be a really interesting test to see if the NFL is shifting in terms of what guys are going to be productive and thrive in the NFL. But I just think that the Browns continually when I'm looking at the Browns wide receiver room, I feel like they try to get a diversity of skill sets, and Marquise Goodwin was here last year to try and be that dynamic vertical guy. And we did see a couple of those shot plays happen, but not nearly as many as we wanted to. And I think that over the course of time, the Browns have told us that they want a guy that can just win vertically, that can stretch, that can create space underneath. And Troy Franklin's a guy that can do that. And it makes a ton of sense in terms of that when you look at what the Browns have. And in this case, you wouldn't just be signing him to a 1-year deal. He wouldn't be a veteran. He would be a guy that you could develop, that you could bring along, that potentially could become more than that. I like it for a lot of reasons, Casey. I feel like this would be one of those picks that the Browns would make, and I would celebrate. It makes too much sense when you look at, because now you've got Amari and you've got Jerry Jeudy who hopefully are going to be here for the next couple of years leading the wide receiver room. And I feel like Troy would be such a perfect third piece to that receiving group. And it's not like you don't have size already, right? Like you just drafted Cedric Tillman and you have David Njoku. It's like you've got guys with that size. You need somebody like Troy Franklin in that room.
Okay. Let's holler out. Our boy Jeff just subbed to the Twitch channel using his Prime. So
let's go.
You're the real MVP, Jeff. There it is. I know our boy Drew actually already subbed to the channel before this pod. So we want to give Drew a shout out as well. Clapping on. Appreciate the hell out of you boys. Just because, we're chasing dreams here, man. And because of you guys, we're not just chasing them, we're living them, man. Look at I got all matted up hair, just yelling into a microphone on a Tuesday night, and it's pretty rad as hell. Okay. Josh has a question. Well, Josh has a question for Casey. He said, Casey, are you still interested in trading up a couple of these picks for Ayuk, or are you wanting to go with Franklin, Corley, etc.? He heard something on Sports for CLE. A great point to go for a skill starter instead of the future. Okay. Yeah. That's a great question.
In short, man, like you guys know, Ayuk was my white whale going into this offseason. Yeah. I think that the Browns could have been in on something like that, but I think when you trade for Jeudy, now if you were to go after Ayuk, it means you're walking away from Coop. So I didn't think that originally, but now that you've added Jeudy, I just think it's too many moving parts, too many contracts. I am worried that Ayuk will go someplace that I will dread, and then I'll have to deal with. That is something that I don't want to see.
I hope not.
And I still believe in Ayuk's. I believe in Ayuk's upside, man. I think he's a tremendous talent, and I think he's not even. Is he 26? You know what I mean?
He's
like
26 or 27. Yeah, he's one of those. Yeah.
Dude, I think he'd have been a tremendous add, and I think he's much further along than Jeudy is right now. Considering that they were in the same draft. I would have preferred Ayuk over Jeudy, but you made your bed, you made your move, you went to get Jeudy. You're banking on that upside. Now you kind of got to let it play out. So unfortunately, I think we are out of the Ayuk sweepstakes.
Jeff's pretty surprised that Josh knows how to work the internet because he's old. I had to put that on the screen because I know Josh is watching on YouTube, so I know he couldn't see it in the comments. So I had to make sure. We threw that out there and got that.
Shots fired.
So pow, pow, pow. Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
Another end of the wide receiver spectrum.
How
about a guy who has limited production? I understand that, but certainly offers a lot of interesting ability. And I'm talking about Xavier Legette. Wow, I can't talk. Xavier Legette, who is 6'1", 221 pounds. He's got almost 32-inch arms, which is awesome. And Jacob, I know you're a Keon Coleman fan, and maybe we'll be talking about Keon Coleman here, but certainly some similarities in terms of contested catch ability. A guy who has long speed. You're not going to get Xavier Legette to change directions very well, and I'm aware of that. But when I'm looking at guys that present upside, I just feel like a lot of the knocks on him are like blocking technique, route tree, the types of things that are more lack of experience than they are physical ability. And I just feel like he could be an interesting guy. I don't know if Andrew Berry would go with a more limited college production. That's like my one holdup. But personally, I think it's an interesting case for upside because it could present that could scare some teams off, and it could present especially in this deep wide receiver class, that a guy that falls to you that you say, okay, hey, you're 6'2", you've got long speed. I think he hit like 22 miles an hour on the field.
He can scoot,
right? And I just feel like when you're looking at the Browns wide receiver room, all of a sudden it's like, okay, if route running is your weakness here, we've covered this. You've got guys that are already technicians in your room. And I don't have his stats from that year at South Carolina, but I know he's been highly productive. I'll get those for you.
17, almost 18 yards a catch, 1,200 yards. He was South Carolina's offense.
Yep. Yes,
I mean, and you're talking when you look at apparently it's Leggett, by the way. Learned that this week. It's Leggett. I've learned that I've been pronouncing several of these names wrong the entire time. So
I'm going to continue to.
Yeah, it's Fuanga, by the way. There's an N that's not actually there, but when you talk about Talise, it's there. The biggest questions with him is why did it take you to your 5th year in college to do anything? And I get it. He hasn't been playing wide receiver for very long. I mean, he switched to wide receiver in college. So I understand. Right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And so I understand that aspect of it. And that's why when you look at some of the route running stuff and some like what we were talking about with, Troy Franklin in terms of not having a diverse route tree, that kind of comes into effect because for Xavier Legette, they ran a lot of digs, posts, and screens. And when you're at his size and they're running screens to you successfully time after time, you're talking, is he 6'2" or 6'3"? I think he's 6'2".
No, he's 6'1" and change. He was listed at 6'3" in college. Then he went to the Senior Bowl, measured at 6'1" and change.
So you're talking under 6'2", but 220 pounds. I think he looks bigger than 220
Tough to bring
pounds.
Down.
223 is what he weighed in at, yeah.
I think you're talking 235 is what I think he played at. If we're just – that ain't no 220. The tape I watched, I'm not sure that guy's 220. It's a big – I mean, but you're talking about – I hate player comps because I don't like to I think sometimes you can set some of these players up for failure when you player comp some of these things, but it's DK Metcalf. When you're talking about what is Xavier Leggett's skill set, it's the same as DK Metcalf. He's not as refined as Metcalf. Metcalf had much more experience and much more production in college because he had been a wide receiver all of that time. And you just you've got to answer the question, what took him so long? Because in terms of the physical traits, nobody's got more. Nobody's got more physical traits in terms of like uniqueness. Why does sometimes you not look very athletic on tape? Because you're an athlete. I know you are, but sometimes like go watch some of the stuff from before this year. I get it. He didn't know what he was doing, but so you've got question marks there. Why did it take all of this? And because of that, he could fall to the Browns. He could fall even further. I think he's a first-round talent. I do, strictly based on his talent. But I've got those question marks. And how's it going to translate? And, you know, all of those things. So I would not in any way, shape, or form be upset if you take him at that spot. I just think you might get a better, more refined prospect if you go in a couple of different directions.
You guys are speaking my love language. Xavier's one of my favorite players in this entire draft. And people can get focused on like why did it take so long for the light to come on. I think we're missing the point. The light came on. And when you have a player of that kind of physical profile, like you're 223 pounds and Cat ran like a 4.36. You know what I mean? Like just flat out can get it, you know, and yes, there are some nuances to the routes you want to see him add, but he's quick, he's sudden, he can create separation. And I've talked about it on here before, man. The kid can just run go balls. He can stretch the field. You can run smoke screens. He's also deadly on crossers because of his ability to really hit that third gear going across the field. And if you have a progression, you can catch him late. He can turn it up and really do damage.
Yeah.
And he is a monster on special teams because when the light wasn't coming on, he was kicking ass on special teams. You're going to go back and watch tape from the years previous. Watch him on special teams. That is a guy. Bubba Ventrone would be frothing at the mouth to get an athlete like that who really buys into the special teams aspect.
He's a wide receiver, and he'll put a hit on you, man.
Oh my God, yeah. And I just, you know, he can return. He can do all the stuff, man. I have a strong feeling that he's not making it past Carolina with the first pick in the second round, because this is a prime candidate of someone who's everyone's overthinking it. Like they're going to focus on like, man, it took only 1 year of production, but we saw that happen with Jalen Hyatt, only 1 year of production, and that kid got vaulted. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because of what he could do. I think he's a way better athlete than Jalen Hyatt. But I know how the league works. Like you brought up DK Metcalf. I will add DK Metcalf was not a first round pick.
Nope.
Right. Somehow, some way, they managed to overlook it because of his side agility, and all of a sudden he ran a slower cone drill. And like, oh, he's not agile enough. Watch the game on Sundays. Does he not look agile? You know, so that's what I think of Xavier here. So I feel like he's going to go before we get a chance to get him at 54. But if we pick him at 54, I will shit a cupcake, maybe live on stream.
There it is.
That's okay.
I just say, you know what? Whenever there's like developmental as part of the cons, I'm just like Browns. Yes. Like because that's the ideal situation.
Exactly. You're not drafting him to need him to be the man right now. You don't do that. You already have things in place to allow guys to develop. But when they have that kind of upside, I take that swing.
When talking about overthinking and underdrafting, Keon Coleman from Florida State.
There it is.
We don't necessarily know what the NFL teams are thinking, but my goodness, does it feel like the talking heads, us, everybody just overthinking Keon Coleman.
Yep.
And I just don't think you see this sort of potential for dominance, because at times that's what Keon Coleman has been. At times there are games where he can take it over, where it doesn't matter how you defend him, he's going to get the ball. You know, he's the first thing that I like to do when I'm looking at wide receivers, really any skill position, is the first thing I want to see is, what do you do at your best? What do you do when you are the best version of Keon Coleman, the best version of Xavier Legette, like all of these things? Like what do you do? And for Coleman, it's make stupid catches look good, easy. That's what it is. When you Google Keon Coleman, I love the NFL Stock Exchange podcast. If you haven't checked that out, do check it out. They just dropped their top 30 wide receiver rankings, where they both gave 30 wide receivers in order for this class. And yes, that's how deep this fucking class is. We could have multiple shows on wide receivers every day for the remaining 9 days and have content to talk about. But and Connor Rogers loves Keon Coleman. He's like, I just can't quit Keon Coleman. He's like, every time I go to YouTube, it just says 5 of the sickest Keon Coleman catches ever. And of course I'm going to watch it, and it's like, he has the propensity to make those plays. We've seen it consistently, and everybody gets there and he runs this slow 40, and people want to tumble him in the draft. Let me tell you some stuff about Keon Coleman. And you tell me, you be the judge. You tell me if this is a bad player. Okay. So let's talk about his 40 time. His 40 time, he ran like a 4.6 at the combine. Okay. He's 6'3", about 215 pounds, had a 38-inch vert, a 10.7 broad, and he had an elite 1.54 10-yard split in the 40. Explosive as all hell off the line of scrimmage. Mm-hmm. And he ran the fastest gauntlet drill we have ever seen. An actual wide receiver drill, not a straight line sprint like he's a track star. Don't overthink this, man. Go watch the tape. He'll beat you with athleticism. He'll beat you with power, strength, physicality. He'll beat you with route running every once in a while too, damn it. You don't see people with that blend of physical traits. I don't think Coleman's your wide receiver 1 on week 1 of his rookie year. But Keon Coleman's going to be a wide receiver 1 in the NFL. Wow. And if they want to overthink it, and he's in the 40s, the Browns want to go get him, or if they stay pat and it drops into their lap at 54, I think Keon Coleman in the Browns' range of potential aspects should be wide receiver 1 on their board, because, they're not getting the top 4 or 5 guys, But of the guys that could be in the Browns' range, I think Keon Coleman should be number 1. I just think he can do everything at least well, and he does several things like have physical traits that you can't teach, and he's going to have time to grow in Cleveland.
Okay, now we're going to do an exercise in overthinking. Are you ready? Mm-hmm. So Keon Coleman, as of a month ago, he wasn't on my radar because I thought there was no chance in hell he was escaping the first round. But as these weeks play on, you start to see him slip down boards. You start thinking of possibilities, and all of a sudden you start doing these mock drafts, and he starts being available on a simulator every now and again. So now you got to entertain it. So I'm like, okay, you start getting excited about that, just because I think what Jacob said is true. I do think that you're looking at someone with wide receiver 1 upside. I do view him more of as an X prototype boundary guy more than a Z, but the skills are there. But then I get in my own head. My worst miss as a draft analyst came back in 2019. The Browns had just gotten Baker Mayfield. The wide receiver room looked to be lacking, so I looked ahead at the draft, started plucking guys out of college, and A.J. Brown was a guy of mine, Marquise Brown, N'Keal Harry.
Oh, yeah, that was me too. I did that
too. A lot of Keon Coleman. You look at what N'Keal was able to do. You look at the body type for perspective. N'Keal, 6'2", 228, ran a 4.53 with a 1.55 10-yard split. 38-inch vert, 10.2 broad. Look at Keon Coleman. Oh, super similar across the board. So I do get wary of guys who make most of their living in contested catches. So that's what gives me pause, and I think that's what's giving a lot of other people pause. Does that mean that's the fate of Keon Coleman? Hell no, that doesn't. But I can see translatable things that lead people to believe that maybe if you can't get that separation, you're not going to be able to win consistently contested catches at the next level. The question you have to ask yourself is, is he special? Because if he's special, you can wash away a lot of the concerns because you look at a competitive drive. You're looking at someone who just will win, period. He's going to win the rep. I think you see that out of Keon Coleman. So I'm just showing you how easy it is to overthink something and be cautious of some guys you've seen like this not work out in the past.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I believe Keon Coleman is a good enough athlete. We're talking about a college basketball player at Michigan State.
Mm-hmm.
He was trying to do both.
He was.
Yes. So I believe he's a special athlete. Now, I do think that he caused himself a disservice by not rerunning his 40 at his pro day.
That was weird.
Right?
Like
That was weird.
You run a 4.63 and you're just standing on it.
Yeah.
You're like,
when you know you're faster than that.
Well, the play speed on the field tells you that he is, even if he's not a tester.
Yeah.
But like you said, the gauntlet drill, but you watch the film, there's plenty of times he hits the GPS numbers that you want to see, especially for his size. You add that in and it doesn't equal out to what he tested at. So I get why some people were, I mean, dude, you did a draft show with John Vogel a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. He picked him number 6 overall to the Giants.
Yeah.
Like you know what I'm saying? Like, and this is a guy who breaks
John's
down
not an idiot. Like,
no, hell no. John does the work, man. So I think that's your upside, you know, as you're looking at someone who could be potentially special. But there are some pitfalls to his game that he's going to have to work out at the next level. Like you said, he's not your wide receiver one, day one, but year 3, you might, you know, if he's developed properly, he could be that dude.
Okay, we've got 3 mock drafts coming in just a couple of minutes. And to make all of this work, we're going to have to start mocking soon. So speed round. I'll start with Casey, then Nick, then me. We'll each do one.
Can't give one. You're out of your mind.
You get
okay,
one.
So I'm gonna give you one from each of my buckets, and then
give me one, but just a couple of lines on each, and then we can't react to them. We don't have that time.
That's fine.
If you can't get Troy Franklin at 54, take Tez Walker at 85.
Yes.
It's vertical, same things, gives you the same elements, going to be available later, still same kind of upside. So if you're taking a swing in a third, Tez Walker.
Shout out Golden Flash.
Here's a guy I got him listed as my Z receivers here. Jermaine Burton. I think he's going to be available on day 3 because of the off-field concerns. But if you're just talking about tape, this is a kid you can gamble on because you have the proper leadership in the room. If you didn't have that, I wouldn't touch the kid. I'm not touching him day 2, but if he's available day 3 and he falls in your lap, do what you got to do, man. That kid's highly skilled. I look at my X bucket. I'm going to say Javon Baker. Baker's another guy.
Got me.
Great
I
boundary
think Baker
guy.
might be the best route runner in this class.
And I'm going to throw it down for my power slot. My power slot's Johnny Wilson. Everyone, this is overthinking season. I can't quit him. I'm not going to quit him, dude. 6'6" and 7/8, 230 pounds. Get that kid in the slot, and he will do damage, straight up damage. Red zone threat, Johnny Wilson. I'm going.
Do you know whose body type Johnny Wilson is similar to?
The Hulk?
Plaxico Burress. Bet you haven't heard that name in a hot minute.
Actually, I heard somebody compare them on a podcast last week, but yeah, before that I hadn't.
There you go. Just a cut. So Casey, you took a bunch of mine, so I'm just going to build on a couple points. Hey, awesome. So Javon Baker, okay, goes from 56 receptions for 796 yards in 2022 to 52 receptions for 1,139 yards, over 7 more yards per catch, and a couple extra touchdowns. Like that growth, like that progression. And I just want to throw a little bit. Go back to 2023. Okay, look at the Washington offense. Look at how Jalen McMillan and Jalen Polk did when both were healthy in 2023. Wait, my years might be mixed up. McMillan was hurt this year. He had a knee injury, and he was trying to play through it, and his production fell. Okay, but if you go back to when both were healthy, McMillan favors quite a bit in production over Polk, and everybody likes Polk a whole lot. I'm just saying that's just two quick hitters for you.
I don't like Jalen Polk. Anyway,
McMillan.
I don't like. I'm fine with McMillan, but because I don't think you got to take him as high as you're gonna have to take Polk. Like I just don't
Day
think
three.
Polk's.
Yep.
I don't think Polk's great at anything. Like I think he's
That's
a very
my
good.
concern. He's a
Yeah, he's very
he's
good.
a high floor player.
Yep.
I've listened to
high floor, lower ceiling.
I've listened to the Hyatt Tillman scenario be compared to the McMillan Polk scenario where Tillman got hurt, McMillan got hurt, and it let the other one be more productive. But when they were both on the field, it was very obvious which one was more productive.
Yeah, which one was a one-trick pony. Okay, by the way, if you guys are watching us on Twitter or on YouTube, we would love if you join us on Twitch. If you sub to the channel, you get free no ads, exclusive emoticons, exclusive giveaways. I've got a couple of giveaways that are going to happen during the Twitch live stream during the draft. So, and you got twice, you get double entry if you're a sub to any of our giveaways. So,
sorry, last thing. I've gotten really excited as I've learned about these wide receiver classes. I can't think of a wide receiver room I want Jermaine Burton to come to more than one with Amari Cooper at the head of it.
Look at that. Look at those cool little Browns emoticons that Jeff has because he's a subscriber on the
You ain't getting those nowhere else, baby.
Yeah, I got those made.
Let's go.
I got those made. I was going to be like, I made those. No, I didn't.
Like if you say, oh, hey, this receiver has potential attitude issues and might rub organizations the wrong way. Well, maybe Amari Cooper can help guide that ship. Maybe. Just thought.
If we're talking later round, gotta love. I love Anthony Gould from Oregon State. He's 5'8", like $160, foot soaking wet. But my God, is there some fight in that? If you're talking about the has some dog in him kind of guy, like the dude is a great route runner. He'll blaze it down the field. And at 5'8", like he'll hit you in the mouth as a run blocker. Like Anthony Gould's going to be a day 3 guy because of his size. But he was like an All-American, like punt returner 2 years ago. He didn't really do it much this year, but he had a couple of return touchdowns in 2022. Like he brings some of that stuff to it. So if you're looking like day 3 somewhere, Anthony Gould from Oregon State, I think makes a ton of sense. Keon Coleman's my guy at the top of the list. I've said that many times. Hold on. I've got my list up here and I forgot to bring up my list. Malik Washington for Virginia. I'm looking at these great athletes at the position. These guys that are quick or get in and out of their breaks with good body control. Malik Washington, he's probably a 3rd rounder, maybe might slip a little bit into the 4th rounder or something of that nature. I like Malik Washington a ton. And let me give you one more name off the top of my head. Dude, I go through so many of these that I'm like, sometimes I have to go back through my notes and go, okay, what did I draft in that mock last month? Also, by the way, bittersweet, I started to work on my last written mock of the year.
I saw you post that.
And that really hurts.
If you're just looking for pure entertainment value, watch Malachi Corley play wide receiver.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Malachi Corley is...
That dude will run you the hell over.
And I think he's going to be available in the 3rd round, man. I think that's just the way it's shaping out, just the numbers game from all these receivers. I got 22 guys on my board.
Yeah.
And it's just this is a good draft, man. Okay. I do want to throw our listeners a bone here. Roman Wilson's a dog. You named some really good slots right there. Malik and Roman are both, in my opinion, high-level slots. Okay, so the top 30 visits the Browns have had 5 receivers in. You hear a lot about Ladd McConkey. We've talked a lot about Makai Corley. People who listen to the draft, you've heard enough about Ladd. But you go to Makai Corley. But there's 2 guys that the Browns have had in on top 30 visits I want our listeners to be aware of. Tawan Palmer. This kid was on Bruce Feldman's freak list out of UAB, 6'2", 210, ran a 4.45, 40, 10, 2 broad, 35-inch vert. He's hella raw. He's the developmental Z. Could possibly be someone used here as a UDFA. They've done their work on him. They brought him in. Another one is Ladietrich Griffin. He's going to be more of a slot guy. Mississippi State, 5'10", 185, runs a 4.43, 35-inch vert. He has above average short area quickness, and once again, maybe a 7th rounder, maybe undrafted. So those are 2 names I think you guys need to be aware of.
Are you guys ready? It's triple mock time. Bah, 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 bah. And this time, I'm going first.
Jacob, I just real quick, because Josh asked in the chat, do you trust Chad O'Shea?
I trust Kevin Stefanski.
Okay.
It's a great answer.
Prove it here, right? He's like
Definitely
like
prove it here.
last
You
man
changed.
standing.
Yep, you've changed everything else, and we haven't had any wide receivers be developed.
No.
I think that's
Yeah.
You got to show us, bro. I need Tillman to take a big step.
That was a big surprise for me too. Was the Chad O'Shea thing? I don't.
Yeah, I've brought it up a lot. People probably think I hate him.
I'm doing ESPN's because I think some of the stuff that they do is really fun and interesting. And I'll show it as we get through here. So I've got ESPN. I'm on the board first. Let's load this draft.
This is so exciting. Imagine next year you're gonna have 1st-round picks, Jacob.
Oh, I know. I've already done a couple of mocks for next year, but I played around with a couple of mocks. I'll just say that.
You're a psychopath.
Oh, hot.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. So I got Xavier Legette. I've got Chris Broswell. That's
You son of a bitch.
Got Kings.
I got Chris Ball. That's like, I don't know that you're going defensive line, but Braswell.
This is
I think
here.
just pick Devondre Sweat and let's move on.
Yeah. Okay.
And Troy Franklin's there. What a draft.
I know that it's not going to be
crumbs.
it's not the popular man, but dude, Kingsley Sumatia, the left tackle for BYU, man, like you're talking about athletic tackle that is probably just not ready to play this year. Oh, wait, you have a left tackle. Whatever you think about Jedrick Wills, he's an average starter at worst. In my mind, I think Jed is an average to above average at times. So you're fine. You don't need Kingsley Sumatia I think he instantly becomes your best backup left tackle. If you did need him to play, he's been on both sides of the line. Or did he play guard? Did he play guard?
He played left guard.
Okay. God, man, I can't. There are so many freaking offensive linemen that have played everything, but like
Amagaji, him and their profiles are so similar.
Yeah, it's just one played at Yale, so he's probably going to fall, and he's hurt, and he didn't get to test.
Yeah, his quad can't test. If he could, he's a freak. Promise you that.
You're talking about Kingsley Sumatia. He can play guard. He can play tackle. Be your backup on the left side. Has all the traits to be a franchise left tackle in my mind, if developed right. Dickerson he's not Bill Callahan, but he's no slouch. A very, very well respected offensive line coach. A lot of people were very happy when the Browns got him. So give me a guy that has a ton of upside. So I'll take Kingsley Sumatia for my pick. Okay. And I will pass it to Casey.
Okay, let's do the thing. I wasn't going to it. What are we doing here?
Oh, wait, I think this is me, Jacob.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
For some reason, it's not switching over my screen here. No, I don't want to do that. All right.
I think you're froze.
Let's go. Yeah. Am I froze now? I don't know what just happened.
Yeah,
I didn't like it.
Yeah. No, it looks like it's working now.
Yeah, we're good here.
Okay.
Just hit resume up there. In the middle. Down. There you go.
This looks way different than my phone on this app.
Yeah, it does. It looks a lot different on the actual.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Here.
Oh, yeah, we're rolling.
Now
Let's
we're
go.
good.
I'm rejecting all trades, and I'm going to entertain them.
I am as well.
Why is it still going if you're on the clock?
I don't know what happened. Dude.
You might want to restart it.
Yeah, what?
Like,
come on, PFN. You're letting me down, bro.
He came on the clock at 54.
And it's like,
and it just kept going. He was like, you were looking at trade offers, and it just. All right.
Yeah, I don't like what just happened there.
We go again.
Okay. Okay. Wow, I make a lot of people mad here, boys.
Okay.
Let me see here. Get off my screen. I'm going to do it, man. I can't pass up Cooper Beebe. I'm going to draft an offensive guard, bro.
He also played left tackle, though. Like,
yeah, I think he would be a tremendous asset to your offensive line room. I just look at the future, man, and I just know that as much as I love Joel Bitonio, we're getting near the end of that rodeo.
Yep.
So I'm
with you, man. Nick, you're on the board.
I am rolling to the pick here, and we'll see where we're at. Okay, we are rejecting. I reject. Wow, everybody wants this pick. Oh man, I could make Casey really happy. This is oh wow. Okay. Well, this is tough because I really feel like Roman Wilson has all of these really sexy like separation stats. He's like in the 88th percentile, the 90th percentile of various like being open statistics that I was I'm going to go different. And I'm just going to say Edgerrin Cooper is a guy that I want in the center of my defense next to JOK. We're going to go a little different here, and I'm going to forsake the wide receivers, even though, and Jatavian Sanders is there. I love the idea of having, but I want the rock solid future of my linebacker core. And Edgerrin Cooper's there. I'm drafting him.
You're not going to get any complaints out of me.
He's a hell of an athlete. All right, I'm on the board, and a guy that I love. I've moved him up my board. I've taken him off day 3. I put him on day 2. Not as high as this Sim is, where they've got him ranked, but I love Cedric Gray, the linebacker from North Carolina. I think that's a heat-seeking missile. A lot of missed tackles over the last 3 years. I think he had 47 missed tackles, but he had like 360 tackles that he made, which tells you he had an opportunity. He was in position to make 400 stops in the last 3 years. And Casey, you talked about it. You're like, he has a nose for the ball. That's what, even though he's missing tackles, he's making a ton of tackles and he's around the ball when he's missing these other tackles.
Mm-hmm.
He needs work as a tackler in terms of technique and cleaning some of those things up and wrapping up and taking people to the ground, all those things that they need to work up on the technical side. He's a hell of a coverage linebacker, covering tight ends, especially if he's covering like a possession tight end that's not a great athlete, because I think Gray is a better athlete than what I think some people are giving him credit for. But I think he's a really good coverage guy. I think he has a nose for the football, would just play great with Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah in my mind.
Yeah, you don't have to work on that kid's instincts.
Yeah.
All right. We on?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I did not go sexy with my first pick. So we're going full sex with my second pick. Jatavian Sanders.
There it is. With your second pick?
We're getting explosive.
Oh, baby.
We're getting explosive, baby. That's what we're doing.
Okay.
So set the table for Deshaun.
Just down the seam, man. That's all. It's like you're not going to find, like, in terms of just being a seam player, like Jatavian Sanders as a tight end is just ridiculous.
Are we on?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Listen, I get it. We took a linebacker, and I understand that you could make a case, and you could say maybe Jermaine Burton's here and Tez Walker's there, and even though Dominic Pooney's right there, and there's a lot of options here, but I feel like Michael Hall's fallen a little bit, and I guess this is the defense draft. Let's go get the quarterback. Give me another defensive tackle that can get after it, a young one. And let's make this a fun camp competition. I'm in. Michael Hall, welcome to the party.
That's a freaky athlete at 290.
You're not getting me to pass on him with the second pick. You won't do it. I'm sorry. I won't. I refuse.
So we went. Oh, look, it did update it. It does have 227 on there. So we've got
Nice.
tackle and linebacker. Let's look. What is here? Okay. Let's look at tight end here. Tip Ryman's still there. Jaheim Bell, Eric All a little bit later on. It's kind of been picked a little bit clean in this sim.
Yeah. Eric All also on the Browns top 30 visit list.
Yep. Eric All's got he's only played 10 games the last 2 years, but it's easy to see when he is on the field why you'd want him on the field.
Well, isn't it crazy how many Big Ten tight ends don't have any production, but you just love their athletic upside?
Yeah.
There's a lot of them.
I like Jamari Thrash quite a bit. What else we got? What do we like? Jamari Thrash is up there. Tip Ryman. I think Jamari Thrash is a high floor wide receiver. I'm not sure how much upside he's got, but you can never have too many quality wide receivers. So you could go that direction here. Man, it's such a different board that I'm used to because I've been using other sims the way it's falling is really interesting.
It's part of the fun.
No, I'm going to go Tip Ryman. I'm going to go the Illinois tight end. Again, another guy that does not have a ton of college production, but is just tested. Was one of the best tight end testers we've seen. He tested really well. Let me bring up his stuff because I remember he only had 400 or 500 yards. I think the last 2 seasons combined at Illinois, but a lot of that has to do with he was at Illinois. Yeah, 6'4", 271, and ran a 4.64. All right, it's the 5th round. They don't make many of them like that. So, bring him. He's a good blocker too. I think he's a really good blocker at 270 pounds. Moving that fast at 270, just for comparison, I know Keon Coleman's faster, but he technically had a faster 40 than Keon Coleman at 270 pounds. So.
I love the name. You can't beat that name.
Yeah.
All right, boys. So this is the beauty of not drafting for need. You can kind of take some luxuries. You can kind of take a stab on something. Even though it's not going to be a perceived need, there is no way in hell I am passing up on Mo Kamara. Not doing it. You can't talk me into it. What is going on with my computer? It won't let me take him. They are not playing this game, are they?
It's hating.
It is hating, man. I don't know what's going on. You know what it is I unhooked my mouse when I was downstairs, and now I'm having issues. You good? Move on to Nick. I'm taking Mo Kamara.
Okay.
It's an Ogbo Okoronkwo type. Getting him at a young age here, and someone that you can move on from Ogbo when you need to, and you already have a guy for that role.
This is an interesting piece of the draft for me because 2 of the best prospects here by NFL mock draft database are defensive linemen, which we've already taken Michael Hall, so I'm not going to go that way. I could see a path where you take Jarvis Brownlee Jr., you go corner, but I'm not sure that makes a ton of sense here. And Jacob, you were talking about Jamari Thrash before. I feel like if we're passing on wide receiver at 54 and 85, give me a guy that is more of a sure, I want somebody I can rely on at this point. I'm not taking Will Shipley. I'm not going running back here. And I just don't think that defense is the continued move here. So I'm going wide receiver.
All right. Did it let you pick, Casey?
No, it's still not, man. I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. I'm not going to go run downstairs and get my mouse, so I'm going to have to figure it out on the fly.
That's Yeah, you just got to figure it out on the fly. Okay. So I'm looking at the wide receivers that are left on the board, and it's such a deep class. I'd hate to leave this class without one. And just a day 3 sleeper for me is Jalen Colker, the wide receiver out of Holy Cross. That's
I haven't got to him yet. That is someone that I have not gotten eyes on.
He's a really nuanced route runner. Like I think the little things he does to sell routes, and I think he ran in the 4.5s, but like he does a really good job to go and high point the ball and contested catch, jump ball opportunities, goes up and does it. I don't think he's like a freaky athlete, but I think he knows how to create separation. He has reliable hands. But he comes to a really small school, so you're not going to ask him to do much early on. But you're taking a chance on a guy late in the draft process. You're still,
yeah, you're going to have to go on the Nick, man.
Okay.
This might be where you. This might be where you leave me.
I'm going. There's a couple different directions we can go here, but one of my favorite prospects I've learned about is Eric Hall. Just a guy that if he's like, so. I love guys that have the context of like, if this guy is right, or if this guy develops, he's already got the physical and the ability that shows. Eric Hall had a back injury, recovered from that, was productive again, tore his ACL. The Browns brought him in. We know they're interested. I'm taking Eric Hall, and I'm not thinking twice about it. It's 206. I'm here for it. I feel like this is a tight end that can develop and be significant contributor in the Browns offense. Give me Eric Hall. I want all the Eric Hall.
I'm trying to.
I'm back if you need me to go.
Oh yeah. By all means.
All right. Well, we know this is inevitable. It's Thanos. We know AB is going to take a cornerback at some point in this draft.
Probably.
I'm going back to the pipeline. We're going DeCameron Richardson. We're talking about a plus length guy, 6'2", high 190s. Same thing with Martin Emerson, man. This kid has no production, so people are going to be down on him. But when you look at the physical metrics, you look at that length, the Browns covet that. Now, I don't see him as a press man type corner like we're used to seeing with the Browns. This is more of a height, weight, speed guy, someone you won't play an off-ball corner. But the Browns are going to take a stab at a corner. They've already brought this kid in for a top 30 visit.
I've said that I don't know where you find a defensive tackle. I don't know where you find like room for a running back and things like that on this roster. But at the same time, we're getting into the 7th round, and with a pair of 7th round picks, for me, it's let me get somebody to push a guy on the edge of the roster. Give me Myles Murphy, the defensive tackle from North Carolina. Big-bodied run stuffer. I think he does a really good job getting out, anchoring against double teams and eating blocks, and bring him in to push Siaki Ika, and may the best man win that final defensive tackle roster spot.
Okay. I am rooting. I'm just full disclosure. I'm rooting for chaos. We've got an extra 7th round pick now. We know the Browns met with Joe Milton. I want to see what happens if they draft another quarterback. I get it. I'm not justifying it. My justification for this pick is chaos. I'm taking Joe Milton, and I'm not thinking twice about it. Let's see what happens. Can you imagine?
That is chaos.
Can you imagine if they took a rookie quarterback and just like what do you even
after all the quarterbacks they've added?
I can't help it.
Well,
I can't. I have.
Well, if you think of what Ken Dorsey's had success with, if you feel confident to kind of put Joe Milton in his lap and say, what can you get out of him?
All right.
We back on me?
Oh, yeah. Hold on. You're up.
All righty, here we go. Looking at my stuff I have available to me, we've already went edge. I'm not huge on any of these defensive tackles. I think they're going to add a linebacker. And if I'm looking at what's available to me, I do like Luke Reimer, but I'm going to go ahead and go with Nathaniel Watson, another Mississippi State product. So we're going back to the well. We're going back-to-back Mississippi State products. at some point when it lets me take them. So
Now,
that's the pick. Nathaniel Watson, super athletic linebacker, rangy, fits the mold of a prototypical new age NFL linebacker.
give me Frank Gore Jr. as my final pick. In case Chubb is not healthy, ready to start the year, you need a practice squad wide. Maybe he becomes John Kelly and hangs around on the practice squad. I think he's a good pass catcher, has good vision. He's not super explosive. Doesn't have runaway speed, but I think he's got a good power profile and good hands. He also threw like 7 touchdown passes as a quarterback in college, so like he did that too. So gimmicky shit. It's something you bring to the table.
I think this draft has fallen super weird.
Dude.
Is it still not working for you, kids?
Yeah, same, dude. I need to bring my wireless mouse up here. Something's going on with my pad. It's just not clicking.
I think I'm going to take a safety. I think I'm going to take Josh Proctor, and we're going to round out this draft. We're going to leave it with 2 Buckeyes. But I feel like adding more youth into that room could potentially make sense, and we'll see how that all shakes out, because I know that they brought McLeod back. He obviously had an injury. I'm just curious about what Proctor comes camp and see what he's got, because these are 7th round picks. I'm tempted to go with, is it Vidal?
Mm-hmm.
I'm tempted to go that way, but I think I'm bringing in a safety just because I think that I'd like to add more youth into that room.
All right, we back to me.
Yeah, you are wrapping this.
All right, man. So this is a guy that Jacob brought up, Anthony Gould. If he's available at the 7th round, I think it'd be criminal to not pick him and let him go to be a UDFA. Although I would like to point out 2 receivers on my screen are the 2 guys that we brought up that were brought in for top 30 visits, who I feel will probably end up being UDFAs. So don't be surprised to see LaDetrick Griffin or Tawan Palmer. But we're going to go with Anthony Gould at Oregon State, jitterbug, and someone that can provide a lot of excitement in the preseason.
There you go.
Triple
mock draft. Join us exclusively on our Twitch channel on Friday night. We're going to talk Browns. We're going to hang out. We'll talk NFL. We'll talk draft. We'll talk about TV shows. Who knows what we'll talk about. Hang out with us a little hangout hour on Friday on Twitch. If we get 10 subs to the Twitch channel during that live stream, I'll do the Saltine Challenge at the end. And as we continue through our Friday night streams, all of us will continue to potentially have to pay the piper.
Well, we've got some challenges in store. But I just want to say,
Casey's first challenge, which is in a couple of weeks, I'm actually... Dude, here's the thing. I may go in there and just donate 10 subs just to see what happens.
Right. Yeah, why not? Let's induce a little chaos and see what happens. I'm big on the chaos. A little bit of chaos.
It'll be chaos. This will be one my family actually cares about, because they know that's not a joke when I say that I am deathly afraid of tomatoes. It's a real thing.
Well, there it is. Okay. Well, I want to say, whether you tuned in on Twitch, on YouTube, on Twitter, or wherever, you are helping the 3 of us chase dreams. As Jacob said earlier, it means the world to us that you be here, that we could have this type of feedback and viewership, even just leading up to the draft. So my pledge to you, it remains steadfast. If you comment on any type of YouTube video, I will respond to you. If you would give us that 5-star, Spotify, Apple, the whole thing, that would help too. We're coming at you from all directions. We're everywhere you can find us. Anywhere you want, we'll be there for you. So with that being said, we are closing in on a Browns draft. This has been an episode of the Barking Browns Show. Nick is Casey. It's Jacob. Go Browns.
Yeah, dog.